I think looking at the welfare of the people, we expect them to do it nevertheless, okay? But I think there are some bigger issues. We need policies, we need structural plan, so that the government departments, the local councils, we need to have a system where the people are accountable in doing it, rather than them being poked around and say, okay, no, do this, they only react. So rather than being reacting, we want people to be more proactive in all that they plan. And so these are some of the issues that we're going to discuss tonight. So I think I want to just start off by saying some of the thoughts that's coming to my mind at this point in time. So thank you very much for listening.
So even for GE14 and GE15, of course, we have done our work by conducting some research and also some survey to make sure that this time we wanted the voices of the people to be heard by way of conducting our own compilation of manifesto. In other words, apart from those parties candidates who are going to contest in the election will first of all deliver their manifesto, we ourselves require our own manifesto. And surprisingly, for the GE14, we managed to actually establish a whole team of 100 over individuals to help us to actually establish the manifesto that comprises about 27 areas. And out of the 27 demands for those candidates, we summarize and try to digest them and make it a bit more, easy to understand and also easy to implement. We actually have 10 demands for the MPs. And after the GE14, we find that GE15 is even more critical to us. And therefore, we again crystallize from the 27 demands into a bit more. I think it's about 15 demands. This time, which is a state election, we don't actually take it lightly. We also find that the local councils as well as ADUN, despite that they are coming up with so-called wonderful kind of manifesto before the election, we find that it is best that we tell them what we want. Yeah. So I think Jeffrey later is going to illustrate to everybody that how shall we actually talk to those candidates. I'm sure the candidates who are present tonight will be happy to hear that. Because then they will know what actually we want. And what actually we want is actually realistic. We do not want overdevelopment, we do not want stray dogs, we do not want the longa always, crop, and we do not even want traffic jam. This country has some problems that is actually inherited from previous government, but we thought this generation is actually still responsible to rectify it before the next generation is going to actually inherit from us. Yeah.
If you have to go to the ADUN because you've got some problems and ADUN have to solve it for you, then the ADUN may not be doing their job. Because an ADUN is supposed to look after the state and make sure that the state apparatus is running smoothly and controlling the PBDs very well. We are all directly affected by the local authorities. So what institutional things have changed that make it that we don't run to the ADUNs, we don't run to the councillors, no? We run to the PBD and they solve our problem. No? So ADUN's job is really to introduce a good environment whereby the PBDs are run properly. But if you cannot look after the PBDs, then it's the failure of the ADUNs and of course the ESCO. Alright? So these are things that is very important that you have to look at. So the other thing is, the councillors that we have right now, they are appointed, right? And if it's appointed, the allegiance is never to the public, never to us. It is always to serve the political master. So sometimes you've got really good councillors, and sometimes you've got really bad councillors. nothing we can do. Sometimes even the ADUN can't do anything because they are from a different party or a different faction. So all this affects us. So we have got to find a solution, a political solution, a structural solution, but we have got to change all that. All right. So now let's go on to the sort of demands that we are having. And when we talk about demands, you will see that this requires a total change of the kind of ADUNs that we are looking for. The ADUN is supposed to introduce systemic change in state activities, include the service delivery, people-centric, inclusive and holistic, focus on institutional reforms and structural changes. When you give the report card to us, all the activities, is it NGO activities? Does it help to change the system so that the system we can rely on to serve us, the PBD? All right, we are very advanced right now. With Lazada systems and all, when we make a complaint, we know exactly, or don't need to make a complaint. If the thing is slow in arriving, you know exactly where it is stuck in. All these technology things have to find its way into local councils as well. But right now, we need the ADUN to be pushing it. We need the ADUN to be looking after the councillors so that the councillors all act independent on this. So, introducing systemic change means that the ADUN itself needs to be people-centric. How many ADUNs are people-centric? Listen to people, all right? But I do understand, ADUNs are very busy people. We also depend on the ADUNs to have their own management skills, to have their service center that can still attend to needs. But in any case, we shouldn't be coming to the service center. Poor thing, so much of abuse you all get. I'm really sorry about that. But it's the PBD that is your main target. The PBD must be smooth running. But if we get councillors who don't understand the whole process, we don't know where. And this appointment of councillors is really quite disastrous for it to be running. I think everyone agrees on that. And many of the parties also say that they support local council election. But when it comes to implementing, they don't support it. So we are looking for ADUNs that are really looking for not just the political interest, the people's interest. That's very important. So if you have this happening in the ADUN, you will see that the ADUN will be people-centric. The ADUN will not look at things not in a micro level. She will look at things at a systemic level. And it is the holistic part. Unless we got such an ADUN, we cannot put in the things that needs changing. Okay, next thing is, these are all the basic foundations that we need to achieve before we even talk about our complaints. Our complaints that we have, long counts and whatever, frequency of disposal of rubbish and all comes back to systemic things. We need ADUNs that have the first priority, no corruption. So they will work actively to eliminate corrupt practices in state and local councils through prosecution, revamp of administration processes. No matter how well you design a system, even if you computerize it, if there's corruption there, the people will suffer. So, but sometimes it's a bit embarrassing to point that out. And then you will upset the local council. The local council may not cooperate with you as ADUN. We need people who will stand up for principles and to change that. Because corruption is the one, I work in the B40 area, and a lift that costs 350,000 can end up at 550,000. And if you question them further on, they have got no answer, and they just come back to you, okay, let's close this chapter, close this file. Next year you apply IQ, I'll approve it. Well, this is not the answer to everyone. Alright? So now if this happens, then you see that prominence and active role of integrity officers, the procurement system, the tendering system, budget monitoring, publication of quantities of bill of quantities. No, no. In BJ, we do have problems when you hit against the road divider, it shatters into sand. No concrete in there, and then after that everything gets washed off. No, we also have problems with incinerators. Incinerators of the what do you call that? Jalan 222 there. No, installed already cannot work. No, a lot of these things are problems, and then of course Bandar Utama also have their own aircon problems and all. So all these things, we want the ADUN to address. We don't want it to sweep under the carpet or saying that there's no solution. No, that is if you all work together. So the next one is we need holistic, and of course we work a lot with sustainable development goals, 17 goals. But 17 goals on its own, without harmony between all of them, is useless. We need a holistic approach. And right now, everybody is saying it only, the whole of society approach, the whole of government approach. If you want to see that happening, we need ADUNs that are holistic, which means that they will be able to go into areas that it's not their expertise, but they know how to get everyone working together. So we need tight engagement between government agencies, NGOs and stakeholders. Straight up management is one of them. The straight up management, everyone is focusing on complaints. Resident complaints, I must go and catch. The education of the public is not taken care of. Neutering is not taken care of. But there are some states in Malaysia that have done that successfully, but yet we do not emulate that. Alright? So this is another important thing that we are looking at the ADUN, that don't solve our problems, just ad hoc, solve it permanently. So now this one is, we need public participation. And public participation, the best thing is local council election. In other words, the people representing us are from the people themselves, not political appointees. Alright? So this has got to change. We need increased local representation, but I know there's a lot of problems, right? But not the law side. The law can be changed instantly to revert back to the Local Government Act 1976. But unfortunately, we can't do that. So what we are saying now is, while we await the federal government to amend their laws, Selangor should go back to 2008, where 1/3 of the councillors are from the civil society, from the residents, experts that are working. At least there will be introducing a check and balance. I don't believe in political parties. There are many political parties that say that we have always supported local council election. But when it comes to the appointment of councillors, they start pull everything. Nothing left, no, for the local NGOs and all. So this is something that you can see here, that the walk doesn't follow the talk. All right. Next thing is unity. We cannot sweep it under the carpet. And right now we are facing a major challenge. People are spewing hatred, dividing up race and religion. We need ADUNs that will start to promote harmony. While somebody promote hate, we want our ADUNs to promote love, interdependency, and helping each other. So in this respect, you can actually see it happening if they deal with it. Harmony in communities, eliminate conflict between RT, RA, and JMB. Close collaboration with Jabatan Perpaduan. No, are they doing the federal? Are they doing the job? If not, then can the state do the job? No. So we have got to do that because we cannot build a nation out of hate. We must build a nation out of love. And the ADUNs on the ground, the MPs are too high up, no? Federal laws and all. But they will work with their MPs as their counterparts. No? So that's very important. Because without unity, you will not go anywhere. Transparency. in state and PBD processes, question the use of OSA for issues that have no threat to the nation. Everybody is so concerned, everybody is so fatigued with PJT links, and suddenly you say that environmental assessment, social assessment, all cannot be open. OSA. Toll concessions, unreasonable, OSA. A government that has got something to hide will not be the government for this. Make sure that you vote for ADUNs that stand for transparency. You cannot have public participation if you do not have transparency. You wouldn't know what's happening. Now, for all these things, if the ADUN is really helping, you will see that the open data systems will be coming. Then Selangor FOI law will be promoted, and then the ADUN system should be in line with SOP, then standard operating procedures. Once I put in the ADUN, I know exactly how many days it will take. All this has to be done. And if the ADUN gets stuck, you know exactly which officer is sitting on it. And sometimes they sit on it because that's where you can get bribes. Alright? So I'm not saying that the bureaucracy is bad, but if your system don't have a check on it, it will be bad. Like Singapore, the minister was corrupted. You found out. You wanted to talk to Lee Kuan Yew. Lee Kuan Yew said, I can't for you. Now you're under investigation. I cannot pay myself. So what did he do? The system is so strict, better commit suicide. So he was the first minister to commit suicide. No. The seriousness of the government in tackling this. So we need the transparency, and the other thing is curbing overdevelopment. We want to practice sustainable development, but right now we are having ad hoc. If you want to bring in PJT link, but it's part of bigger master plan, then okay. No, but you do one highway here, jam again, make another highway. We can't have that. We must have a master plan, and you must be transparent with the master plan. Alright? But even with the local plan coming out, many people have been caught for spoiling it. DJ especially have a coloring contest that changed the local plan, which is what happened when we nearly lost Kelatan Jaya. So with corruption and all those, we won't solve this problem. That's why we need really good ADUNs to work with us. So sustainable development, we will improve the quality of living, and more important, the people's happiness. No, don't tell us that we are very developed. Many people want to come to stay in PJ and all those sort of things, but people are not happy. Most of us are not happy with the long traveling time in the traffic jam. So the other thing is the improvement of living quality in PPR and low-cost flats. Our urban slums are all in PJ South, and if you see the condition of the flats, you go back to your house, you say, I'm so blessed. If you bought a house that is a low-cost house, you will have no chance of selling it because they don't have a JMB there. They are not too educated, they couldn't form a JMB, and in the end, nobody wants to do anything. They are not united. And then the thing becomes so horrible. Maybe one day we organize a poverty tour, then your eyes will be quite open on that. But the problem with the PPR is actually the problem between the COB, the KPKT, the whole line of things is not holistic. And that is why up to now the things are off. But the number of trips that people have gone to Singapore, you can't count. Every time there will be people going down to Singapore to look at HDB. But why can't it be implemented? So these are the things that we are looking for. We need leaders to be in the ADUN. So transportation is another one that's very important to us. Give us some short-term intervention, mini buses or whatever, but don't scar the whole city by building up highways permanently. But make sure that you work with the federal government and get the whole public system in place. And of course, make the stations near the poor areas. The last one is climate change. We need climate change to be very seriously looked at. Because you can see, no matter how well you have your condominium, even in Beijing, it gets swept away. And when I think most of you helped in Sri Muda, the sadness of the person losing everything. The house is gone, the car is gone, my motorcycle is gone. And then after that, they have to go on. No? So the people in KL now have stood up, and all the retention ponds, I think they're regassetting it back. No? So sooner or later, we will have to work for the good of the people, and not the good of the developers and politicians. So if we have a climate emergency act, and we start a climate change select committee in the Selangor, then we will have more chance of addressing this issue. So, as Dr. Ong has said, we are looking at systemic things. If all these things are not in place, then you can complain as much as you want. You can be as eloquent as you want, and you have to complain over and over and over again. All of us in the civil society are fed up of listening. Residents are moaning and moaning and moaning. If only the residents begin to look beyond their own taman, we will start to solve problems. So that is what we are doing. We are uniting all the residents so that it's easier for the ADUNs to work with a group of people. Try working on stray dogs with the NGOs, you get a headache. They love dogs so much, they hate people so much. I've experienced, I keep dealing with that. So, uniting people, building up communities is not easy. I think Dr. Ong has got plenty of experience of that, plenty of heartache on that. But this is what we have done. And right now, this is the 10 demands that we're working on.